Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about some more Shadow Priest PTR changes for 10.1. This is the ongoing rework of Shadow Priest, rework number 15, as they call it. So first off, there's a baseline priest change where Shadow Word Death now has a 10-second cooldown that used to be 20 seconds. This is pretty nice. It's good to have more Shadow Word Deaths, obviously. Shadow Word Death is maybe our hardest, maybe top 2 hardest hitting, no, top 3 probably hardest hitting single target spells, especially during the execute. So it's nice that they're reducing this cooldown, especially because with the 4-set bonus, for anyone who just watched my 2-set, 4-set Aberrus video, in our 4-set, if it gives us a free Mindbender for 5 seconds, then the odds that that's going to line up with a time where Shadow Word Death is not on a cooldown go up, right? Because it's on cooldown less. So anyway, this is a nice change. More Shadow Word Deaths is always good. And then here are the other changes. Shadow Crash damage reduced by 70%. Hate to see that. Shadow Crash now has a 20-second cooldown. It was 30 seconds. That's nice. Death and Madness Insanity generation reduced to 8. It was 30. So this is just one of the spells that they missed on their first pass of nerfing Insanity generation. They missed Death and Madness, so it was still giving 30. They've reduced it down to 8. And it now generates that Insanity immediately instead of over 3 seconds like it used to. This is a good change in my eyes, the instant Insanity generation, because one problem that Shadow Priest has had for a long time is knowing exactly how much Insanity generation you have at any given time. In the past, when you've had like multiple apparitions spawning, or it was tied to crits of Shadow Word Pain, or things like that, it's been very hard to predict exactly how much Insanity generation you have at a given time. But when they make it instant, and when they make it not random like this, it'll always give 8, right? If I can plan on getting 8 Insanity generation anytime I get a Death and Madness, then that's better than if I have to, think about, okay, it could be 8, it could be 12, if there was some range, right? Because there are things like that Shadow Priest has that have some variance to them that make predicting how much Insanity you're going to have at any given time a little hard, right? And that's been one of the big things that distinguishes a good Shadow Priest over a bad Shadow Priest, is knowing, okay, that just crit, I'm going to have more Insanity for this next thing, which means I can play a little greedier, things like that. Although, it's been like a very, very minute thing. You can still be a really, really good Shadow Priest and not have any thought about how much Insanity generation you're getting. Shadow Word Death now generates 4 Insanity. So this is interesting. I wonder if this will be instant like the Death and Madness Insanity, or if it'll be over time. I would guess instant, which is nice. Deathspeaker trigger rate increased by 50%. Okay, so this is a talent that gives you a it gives you an additional, it increases the maximum charges of Shadow Word Death by 1. So it can give you an additional Shadow Word Death so that you have 2. And it increases the damage of Shadow Word Death by 25% while active. And I'm pretty sure it also gives you the 150% execute damage regardless of the target's health. So if that's the case, then this would be a pretty strong Shadow Word Death talent. And it's interesting seeing all these Shadow Word Death things after they just announced that Shadow Word Death is also going to be part of Psychic Link damage. So that's nice. Deathspeaker no longer triggers Death and Madness's cooldown. Okay, so that's good too. You don't want to be using a Deathspeaker. Well, so I guess my question here would be, if you use a Shadow Word Death from Deathspeaker and it kills something, do you still get the 8 Insanity gen from Death and Madness and not put it on cooldown, or do you just not get the 8 Insanity gen and also not put it on cooldown, right? Because let's say you have a Deathspeaker Shadow Word Death and a regular Shadow Word Death, and you kill 2 things, you Deathspeaker one, and then you Shadow Word Death the other one. In that case, would you get 8 plus 8 insanity, or would you get just 8? Right? Well, actually, you would get 4 plus 8 because Shadow Word Death now generates 4. So I guess you would get 4 for the Deathspeaker death. You would get 4 for the regular death, so that's 8 total. And then you would get 8 for 1 Death in Madness, and then it would be put on cooldown. But I think there is a chance that you also get 4 for both, so 8, and then 8 for both, so 24 total. If that's the case, that's pretty interesting, because that's exactly how much insanity a Void Torrent gives you. So that could be interesting. This is something that I'll have to test on the PTR and see how it really works. But I like this idea. New talent, Distorted Reality, increases the damage of Devouring Plague by 20%, but Devouring Plague deals its damage over 12 seconds, and its insanity cost is increased by 25. I don't know. This might be nice, actually. Well, so it's worse DPS-wise, right? Yeah, 100% it's worse DPS-wise, because the duration is doubled, but the damage is only increased by 20%. So for sure, per second, Devouring Plague is doing less damage. And with the insanity cost increase, that's also not good. You get fewer Devouring Plagues. But the one thing, well, a couple things I'll say about the increased duration maybe being a good thing is, first, there was that other talent. I wish I still had it pulled up. There was that other talent that they talked about before that makes it so your stuff deals more damage to things that are affected by Devouring Plague, which you can have more things affected by Devouring Plague if it lasts 12 seconds with the same amount of insanity generation. If you have 150 insanity, ooh, actually, this is very interesting. So maybe that balances it out, because a Devouring Plague right now is 50 insanity. So if you increase that by 25, it's 75. If you take the talent that increases your max insanity to 150, then at most you can have 2 Devouring Plagues in your 150 insanity, right? Without generating any more insanity, I'm saying. So that really changes almost nothing, right? And then the other thing that I'll say is, with our mastery, this means that you'll have all 3 dots longer, right? So you'll be getting more mastery benefit for longer. Although if you're in void form, it doesn't matter anyway, stuff like that, right? So I don't know. I don't love this change. I'll have to see how this feels, and I'll have to see what the theory crafters are saying about how this actually looks. Encroaching Shadows has been removed. Devouring Plague instant damage is increased by 75%. So maybe this makes up for it. If you take this increase and this increase, does that make this better? I still don't think so, because this increase is on any Devouring Plague, not just Devouring Plagues with this talent. Yeah. So Devouring Plague is going to hit like a truck, dude, especially right up front. Surge of Insanity has moved to Encroaching Shadow's position. Surge of Insanity now has a spell alert while active. That's good. That's basically, spell alerts are just the little flashy things that pop up around your character when you get spell procs, right? So I guess before it wasn't telling people that they had them, and now it does. Mental Decay now updates, so this means you won't have to have a weak aura to track this, because the game will tell you. Mental Decay now updates the maximum duration of Shadow Word Pain and Vampiric Touch so that the remaining durations are more easily understood. This sounds just like a clarity thing. So, all in all, I'm not sure how I feel about all this. Probably not great. I don't love Shadow Crash doing less damage. I do like it having a reduced cooldown. I don't love that they're nerfing all of our insanity generators like crazy. This Deathspeaker stuff, I don't particularly love, although I guess it really will change. I guess one good thing about having more Shadow Word Deaths would be that it makes Shadow Priest more mobile, which is a good thing that goes against the problem that I have with Mind Flay and Mind Seer, which is that to do damage, you have to just stand still and do nothing. Whereas with Shadow or Death, you can be running to your next soak, you could be running to your partner, all these things, right, while you're pressing damaging abilities, which is nice. So maybe the Deathspeaker stuff is a good change, especially with it being tied to Psychic Link. And then this Devouring Plague stuff, I really don't know about this stuff. I really don't like increasing the duration to 12 seconds instead of 6. And the insanity cost thing, I think, is crazy. At best, it costs 70 now with this talent. Because I wonder if you can take this talent and that other talent that reduces its cost to 45. If that's the case, then at most, it could, I mean, at least it could cost 70 instead of 75. And then this is good, and this other stuff, interesting. Anyway, now I'm kind of just repeating myself, so I'll stop the video here. I'll leave a link to this article in the description. Like before, this has stuff for everything, all of the changes that were made in this PTR cycle. So it's got stuff for like warlocks, shamans, druids up here, yeah. So if you want to read about all that other stuff, I'm not going to cover it, but if you do want to read about it, there's a link to this article in the description below. That's going to be it for me. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, make sure you click the like button. If you really liked it, feel free to subscribe, maybe leave a comment. Tell me what you like about these changes or dislike, or what you're looking forward to or not looking forward to, or just say hi. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!